Danny. Yay! Okay, good evening, everybody. I'm so excited. This lady has, for me personally, watching everybody over the last 8.5 years in Arbonne, this lady's growth has been the most, by far. Her confidence, the person that, I didn't know Jane Brown very well at the beginning, but I feel like I know her so well now. And I've seen her grow from, doubting, fearful, to literally an area manager in qualification in a really short period of time. So I'm so proud of her. And, like I do in Fiona style, asked her today, I phoned up and said, Jane, we would love for you to train and let us share your journey and, how you got into area manager qualification last month. And love her to bits. She was like, yeah, sure, when do you want me to do it? I'm like, today, tonight. So pure entrepreneurial style. She has done it at a last, and that's what you do. You say yes, and then you panic later. So I know that we have an executive national vice president in our presence, and I'm going to pass over to the amazing, gorgeous, stunning area manager in qualification, Jane Brown. Take it away, my darling. Mwah.
Oh, thank you so much. And I can actually listen to that now and kind of smile and not think, oh, no, that's not me, So I have written some notes because I will just go off on a tangent if I don't. And I've got a drink as well because I've had this awful tickly cough. So fingers crossed I don't have a coughing fit. So excuse me if I have to stop for a second. So what I'll do is just tell you my kind of journey from the start and how I've got to kind of where I am now. So before I started, I was waitressing. That's what I've always done, and never really kind of did my exams in schools, didn't really have that many skills. So, and I enjoyed waitressing, that was fine. And then as life often happens, things took a turn, and me and my husband found ourselves at loggerheads, and we actually separated. So all of a sudden, and this is my second marriage as well, so I'd already been through this once before when my eldest daughter was young, so I thought, oh God, here we go again sort of thing. Start questioning yourself, what am I doing wrong and all that. So we separated, so I suddenly had to find a house, find, support for me and my children. Katie was 12 and Mary was 19, so they weren't young, but it's still hard to suddenly kind of have to start on your own again. So I had to go on to job seekers allowance as well. And I had to kind of give up what waitressing I was doing at the time to be able to work my house and my children. So it was a really, really tough time, and I was just getting more and more depressed, and just so down. I didn't have a lot of confidence to start anyway, but what little confidence I did have kind of just hit rock bottom. So I was kind of always on Facebook, and Daniel would have said I was a serial Facebook moaner because I was always just kind of on there, kind of like, oh, this, that, and this is happening. And just so I never really kind of went on there and publicly slated Andy or anything like that, my husband. It was nothing kind of personal details. It was just life in general kind of moans. So I wasn't really looking for anything else in particular, but Danny kind of came along just at the right time when I was at that real low point and said, look, I've doing this thing. And Danny was very new to it as well. So Danny sent me these huge long messages in Facebook Messenger, pages and pages long. And I'm thinking, I've not got a clue what she's going on about. She means well, I'll go along and just have a listen, which I did. And I thought, oh, do you know what? It's really not for me. Didn't have much money because I was on job seekers at the time. So I just have not got the confidence to do it. Could never see myself doing anything like that. So I kind of left it. And then one day I was going for a run through the country park like you do. And I suddenly hear somebody shouting my name, and it's Danny again. And she's going, Jane, come into this meeting. Come in. And I'm like, oh, God. So I thought, oh, do you know what? I'll go along and just listen. And I went in, and it was her and Zoe and my sponsor that was at the time, Claire, house full of children, racket. And I'm thinking, what am I doing in here? And at the time, it was a very different system to what we've got now. So they were drawing out all these numbers and stuff on whiteboards. And again, I thought, I just haven't got a clue what they're talking about. But so I left it. But then I kept seeing over time posts from Danny about how well she was doing. She looked fantastic. She got this extra income coming in. She was able to stay at home with the children. Nothing was changing in my life. So I thought, right, I really need to find out more properly this time and listen to actually what she's got to say. She'd been doing it a bit longer at that point with different people. So obviously had learnt herself and knew a lot more than what she did at the start. So I really looked into it properly then. And I did talk to my family about it because I was wary of it. Kind of the pyramid thing popped up in my mind, only because me and my mum had nearly got roped into one back in the kind of the 80s. So I was a bit cautious. And I was always of the thought that if you've got to put money forward to something to work, it's always rang alarm bells. But I thought, you know, what have I got to lose? It's going to get me out there to meet a few people. And that's all it was to start with, really. Just a kind of a social thing to get me out the house. Product wise, I'd always tried every product on the market, so I'd never really found anything that really suited. So when I tried the products, wasn't expecting much, but was absolutely blown away, as we all are when we try them. So loved the products. So jumped in September 2014. And I've really never kind of looked back since. It's not been an easy journey for me. Lots of ups and downs. So when me and Danny kind of started on our road together, you know, we were still kind of learning a bit on the old system. And as Danny kindly called us, dumb and dumber, we stumbled along, kind of learning along the way. We made lots of mistakes along the way, but that's kind of how we learn and progressed. So I got my first direct, a friend Becca, who was actually already using the Arbonne products, and I went to pole fitness class with her. She signed up, and then a few more kind of came into the team, but then mostly went again. But finally, I got into district manager qualification in April, just after coming back from GTC in Las Vegas, which absolutely blew my mind. Being a part of R1 was big enough, but going to that, and I was lucky enough to have a bit of house sale money to enable me to go. That was how I managed to get there that first time, because, you know, when you're not earning that much, it is a lot of money. But so I was very lucky to be able to go. And I'm so glad I did, because it was just amazing. It's not just the training, it's everything you take in as well while you're there. And then I completed in June, so I did it over the 3 months. So I never really had much of a warm market, because I've only ever had kind of a small circle of friends. So very quickly I had to kind of get out there and kind of brave the cold market and learn what that was. Chatting to people on Facebook, I was very brave and went to kind of meetings on my own. I signed up to a group called Meetup, where you can select which kind of whatever you're into. So I went to a few of those and spoke to different people, and just doing that gradually kind of built my confidence a little bit as I was going along. And then just building the courage up each time to kind of go into, if I went into a shop to speak to somebody, and I was chatting to somebody about this the other day, and I'd literally go in a shop and I'd be kind of standing there loitering around the shelves thinking, right, I'm going to do it in a minute. I'm going to go and speak to her in a minute. Right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to speak to her. And then I'd go out the shop and completely bottle it. Or I'd get to the counter and go to say something, and then there'd be somebody behind me and I'd think, oh, I can't do it, and just go. So that's something I've had to kind of get better with. And I think you only do get better by just doing it, just coming out with it, and then you learn what's right to say and what's not to say as you go along. Something else that I've had to kind of learn a lot along the way is leading a team. So people were coming into the team between me and Becca, but as I say, we did have a lot that went. And I used to get really frustrated, and I used to beat myself up about it all the time. I used to kind of think every time something went wrong, I think, oh God, I'm just not cut out for this. And I think that was because I could see other teams growing and progressing, and we weren't really getting anywhere. And I kept saying, what am I doing wrong? You know, never done anything like this before, having to look after a team or be part of a team. So it was, you know, it was new and huge to me. And I used to see the other teams and almost kind of feel a bit jealous and envious, which is so wrong. But at the time, I was like, oh, you know, why am I not progressing? Like, I'm doing what they're doing. Why is it not working for me? And I used to think it's just one knockback after another. And I used to compare it with kind of my life. Not that I've had a bad life at all, But I just used to think to myself, oh God, whatever I do in life, it's always a struggle. I've always had to fight for it, you know, and why is that? Why can't things just come easy for me? But I kind of learned that is just life, you know, that's how life goes, and I just have to accept that. So many times along the way, I could have easily given up and said, you know, I just put my hands up, I'm tired of this. You know, I was constant worrier about everything. I used to fret and worry about everything I did. Am I doing this right? Have I done that right? What if this doesn't happen? You know, terrible. So eventually the system slightly changed what we were on. So in comes this new system, and we're suddenly having to kind of find clients and preferred clients and do parties and things like that and lend out products. So that was something, again, that was very new. And again, I thought, oh God, I don't know if I can do this. You know, it's just not me to go into a house and stand in front of a room full of people and present something. But I kind of thought, if I give up, what have I got? I've got nothing really. I've got my family, yeah. Me and Andy were back together at this point, so that all worked out fine. But I thought, I've not really got anything else. I've got myself another waitressing job at the local pub, so I was doing that. But the thought of just having that, just going back to waitressing full time, scared me so much that was what kept me going. I just could not bear the thought of being stuck as a waitress for another 20, 30 years. You know, I did enjoy it, but waitressing, it's hard work, it's very poor pay, and the hours are awful. You just got to work such unsociable hours. So I never really got weekends or any time with my family. So all those times I kind of wanted to give up, I just said, no, you know, come on, you've got to just adapt and go with the flow. So I did. Along the way, I tried a few different things. I tried a few outdoor events. I did one at Old Dolby Day where it hammered it down with rain from the minute I got there to the minute I went home, stuff blowing everywhere. All my stuff was soaking wet. I did get a couple of clients out of that actually, so it wasn't all bad. And then another one I did was at a vegan market in Nottingham, and it was gale force winds. And when I got there and I was setting up and I was thinking, oh, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. There wasn't many people about. It was freezing cold. But I thought, no, come on, stick with it, get it all out. Got about an hour into the event and all of a sudden my whole makeup just flew off the table, right across the floor, everything. My eyeshadows, the lot just went scattering right across the floor. So at that point, I'm there on the floor, scooping it all up, and bless the people around me came and helped me. And I'm thinking, oh, I hope I've not lost anything. And I just piled it all in the makeup box and went home in tears, frozen to the core. So I got home and I just left my makeup box on the side for about 2 hours. I just did not dare open my makeup box to see what state it was in. Luckily, it was just a few of the eyeshadows that had broken. But anyway, so you have to try these things. So next time I'll only do indoor events if I go down that road. So I got to the point where I was just really getting by. Like I said, I was worrying constantly about kind of maintaining, but I always stayed plugged into everything and I always attended as much as I could. Zooms, DAs, absolutely loved going to DAs, and I could go to them over and over again because I think you get something different from each one you go into. All the different speakers that you hear, they all have some different way of presenting it and different points, and I get a lot from that. But business side, I felt like I was just kind of faffing around. I'd spend a lot of time scouring Facebook, searching for something. I wasn't sure what. So I'd waste a lot of time. So I did a lot of moaning and fretting to Danny about it. And she said to me, your mindset is in just such a bad place. I literally had no self-belief, no self-confidence still in myself. Wasn't kind of believing in affirmations, and even the books I was reading, I would question myself, you know, what are these books doing for me? I'd kind of sit there reading it thinking, how is this book helping me? At the time I just couldn't get it into my head. Really, really struggled with that side of it, the kind of power of the mind, and it took me a long time to get my head around that. So after speaking to Danny, I suddenly thought to myself, right, you know, something's got to change. I can't kind of carry on going like this. I realised that it was me that was stopping myself, and I was dragging myself further and further down. And I was dragging my team down with me, although I never ever shared anything with my team. You know, I kind of kept it to myself, or just to poor old Danny. Got most of it. So something else that changed for me at that time was, I mentioned my waitressing job. I'd got to a point in it where I was really, really miserable there. Things changed at the place where I worked and morale kind of really dipped down. So for a long time I was kind of at work feeling really, really frustrated and stuck there. I'd be standing at work thinking, oh God, I could be at home networking now. I was just so miserable there. And I actually went off sick in the end with sciatica. I got sciatica really bad. So I was off for about 4 or 5, 6 weeks. And while I was off, absolutely loved being at home. And it got me thinking about whether to go back. I thought, I'm loving this at home. I've got more time to do what I want, spend on the computer doing stuff. I could, even though I was supposed to be on the sick, I did kind of get out to like little team meetings at people's houses and loved the social side of it. And it just started to pick me up so much. And everything I was reading and listening to kept saying, if you're not happy with something, change it. Don't stay in that position that you're not happy in. So I made the decision to not go back. Now, I'm not saying for 1 minute that I want you to all leave your jobs, because it doesn't work for everyone, and it was a gamble for me. Luckily, we had Andy's income, and I'd got a little bit of income from Arbor, not earning loads, so it was a bit of a gamble, but it was something personally that I had to do, because I just knew in my heart of hearts, if I didn't make that change, I wasn't going to progress. I had to just get out that situation and make a break. So that was kind of the start of climbing up, really. So I was able to spend more time on me as well as the business, something that I'd never really done before. So I started concentrating a lot more on me, so a lot more book reading. I started doing the Miracle Morning, and I have kind of adapted that to me because I'm not a morning person at all. So, I see people on there kind of getting up at 4:30, 5 o'clock. I couldn't do that because it would just kill me. I'd be asleep again by 6 o'clock. So I get up about 6. I just enjoy the quiet. I do my reading because I can't read at night because I just get too tired and I can't do it. So I do my reading in the morning. And if I have any little time in the day, do my affirmations, I write out my gratitude, and then I just sit and kind of do my visualizing. And it just really gets my mind in the right place for the rest of the day. So that really helped. Listening to things, and I've got a list that I'll go through at the end, but listening to things like TED Talks, I don't know if people have heard of them, you can find them on YouTube. Some of them are really, really good. Different audios and SoundClouds, and also just making sure still that I was going to all the trainings and plugging in still. So being able to do all that over time just helped. So all of a sudden, I felt this change, and something just clicked. I can't kind of put my finger on it or what specific time, but just something inside me just felt like, wow, I can actually feel like I'm doing something good here, and I'm doing well. And I've never, ever felt that before. And I was able to kind of approach people in a better way, rather than kind of approaching them for like, oh, I need you to join my business, and I need to get to this promotion, and focusing on what I needed and QV and all stuff like that. I kind of just so much more relaxed and, can I help you sort of thing. And I'd look for people who needed help rather than me trying to help me. So again, we've been to GTC, get to GTC this year. Again, absolutely blew my mind, and came back mid-April and went into Area Qual at the end of April. So again, I think GTC helped. So really a year to reach DM, which seemed at the time so long. But now when I look back, it actually doesn't feel that long. And I think it's done me a massive favour actually going through that, because it's made me grow into the person I am now, so much stronger and so much more confident. And now I feel like I can lead a team so much better. I'm so able now to help them get where they want to be, rather than me trying to get them where I want them to be, because that's what I think they want. Whereas when I look back, it wasn't. It was me trying to get them there because I wanted to get for, and it's awful when I feel ashamed even saying that, but it's just a learning process, I suppose. It's it's just something I've had to learn along the way. Let me just find my notes again because I'm going off on a tangent. So I used to look at Danny and she'd say, oh, I've got all these people messaging me. And I used to think, why are people not messaging me? I want people to be, filling my inbox and things. Now I have so many people messaging me saying, thank you for helping me. Thank you for being an inspiration. And it is just the most amazing feeling ever. And I can take those compliments and think, yeah, actually I've done good. I've helped someone and I do inspire people. Whereas at one time I'd be like, no, don't say that. I'd get all embarrassed. But now it feels lovely. So I'm aiming higher and higher in my business. I want to try and aim for Parade of Champions for GTC next year. So I'm trying to just go all out there and go for it. So my self-talk and my headspace have completely changed. So whereas I'd have all these negative thoughts coming in and just feel so down, now I won't let a negative thought anywhere near my mind. If I feel kind of a mini panic coming on or a bit of a negative coming in, straight away I start affirming to myself, reeling off all these affirmations in my head, or if I'm in the car I'll say them out loud just to completely block out the negative and bring in that positive. And I just want to say actually that to help me with Area, my team just worked so hard, and I can't thank them enough. They really did pull together and push so much, and they've all done so well. And we've got 3 in district manager qualification at the minute, so amazing. So I'm so pleased that I can now help them get to where they want to be. So I do still get nervous, and I do still worry. I don't think that will ever leave me 100%, but I will never ever go back to being that kind of uptight, kind of panicky and sitting in a corner having my own pity party. That's gone now, because it just doesn't get you anywhere. It just gets me upset. That's all it does, and drains your energy. So I'll just finish off with what kind of helped me really, just some points that helped me, so that might help you. So attending events is a huge one. Just for me, plugging into everything I can, whether it's a small DA or the larger events like the GTC and the AAC, our annual conference. Yes, they do cost money if you've not kind of got that much income, but if you can get there, just save a little bit each month. It's just so worth it. Like I say, you take so much more than just the training. It's meeting all the different people there and listening to their stories, and it makes you realise that you're not on your own, and everybody's going through the same kind of up and down struggles. And my determination not to miss the white party for a 3rd time, because the last 2 years I've watched them wave them off to the white party. I'm like, I am not missing that again. Learning to accept each individual member of my team and for where they are and what they want, not kind of where I want them to be. If I know they want to reach a goal, I do still kind of push them quite hard and say, come on, this is what we need to be doing. But it's not about me telling them what to do. It's just showing them what needs to be done if that's what they want to achieve. Kind of just showing them how I've learned from my mistakes and helping them that way. I do make it clearer now to people who are interested in the business what exactly is involved, because I don't think, and I know Danny won't mind me saying this, or Fiona, that I don't think right at the start we were 100% clear on what it actually takes to make this business a success. I think, when we joined, it was just like, here's the business, you share this, sign people up, and that was it kind of thing, and it would just happen. But as we know, it doesn't just happen. It takes a lot of work and a lot of dedication. So I'm always clear with people now, this is what it takes. It's effort based, so that you're both clear. There's no point in wasting each other's time if they're not clear on exactly what it's going to take to get them where they want to be. So I think that's quite important. Always reach out for help. It was something I didn't always do. Yes, I used to kind of moan to Danny a bit, but I've always had this thing about I don't like bothering people. So my sponsor my personal sponsor kind of left quite early on, which was fine. It was just not for her. So I did kind of feel alone sometimes. Always had my team around me, and Danny and Fiona and everybody has always been fantastic. But yeah, I never really felt like I wanted to bother them. But just always reach out, because there's always somebody there to help you, and you just cannot do it alone. If you just sit on your own kind of worrying about it, it just grows and grows. You've got to get out there and just join in. I mentioned the miracle morning. So for me, that was huge because it enabled me to just become more organised, and it's definitely helped. So I make sure I have a timetable now, and I plan what I'm going to do the next day, the night before, just so and I'm not just sat there faffing around wondering what I'm going to do. Definitely reading, and I've got a few book recommendations at the end. Affirmations, and I adapt them. I have kind of a general one, but then I adapt on the end what goal I want to reach at the time. So at the minute, I'm kind of saying I'm so grateful for my confidence, my health and my happiness, and I attract the people, the resources and the opportunities to enable me to reach my goal. And then I've put on, so at the minute, my goal is to reach area manager by May the 27th, 2016. And then I will also put something on the end about kind of personal to me. So I know I believe in me, I'm a success, that kind of thing. So whatever's kind of personal to you. So I've stopped panicking, I've stopped moping, and I've stopped moaning. So it doesn't get me anywhere. So now I just think positive. If I have a worry, I'll speak to somebody, get it sorted and move on, done with. Don't fret over it like I used to. And I've stopped kind of racing for that goal and to reach that QV, and I'm focusing on what I need to do and where I want to be, but I'm enjoying the journey getting there a lot more rather than just panicking about, oh, I've got no QV yet, you know, what am I going to do to get that? I'm just planning it all out, working with my team, and just chilled out so much more than it used to be, and that has helped a lot. When Danny or Fiona or Zoe, whoever, tell me I'm amazing, I smile and I think, yeah, actually I'm pretty good and I'm doing good. I look at how far I've come.
You're amazing!
And what I've achieved, not what's gone wrong, which is what I often used to do. I used to listen to something from Danny and then I go, but yeah, you know, but so now I don't do that anymore. I think, yeah, I'm doing good. And lastly, I never gave up. I never quit. My why kept me going. I want my family and myself and my parents and things to be able to enjoy things that we've never ever been able to enjoy before. I don't want to have to say to Katie anymore, I can't afford that, or I've got to work. So, and it's just small things like that. It's nothing major. I'm not greedy. I want to be able to do something around my self-esteem. I want to try and set up a charity or do something within schools and groups for children. That's something big I want to do, so that will enable me to learn about that and do that. So that's kind of my story. So I've just got a couple of book recommendations. One of my favourite books is The Gift by Shad Helmstetter. I've read it twice. It's actually related around Arbonne, that one, and I absolutely love it. It's just a really, really nice book. Dare to Dream, Work to Win, and that's Dr. Tom Barrett. That's a really good one.